On a warm evening in the city, a young woman named Maya was preparing for a night out with her friends. She had just gotten ready, the soft glow of the lights in her room reflecting off her dress. Her excitement was palpable as she adjusted her hair, making sure everything was perfect. Maya wasn't the kind of person to shy away from adventure, and tonight felt like one of those nights where anything could happen. Her group of friends had chosen a popular nightclub for the evening, a place known for its pulsating music and vibrant atmosphere. As she stepped into the club, the beat of the music surrounded her, making her heart race. She had already been dancing with her friends for hours, feeling the rhythm of the crowd as it moved with the sound. The drinks flowed freely, and Maya found herself sipping on a cocktail, the alcohol giving her a sense of carefree excitement. Meanwhile, across the room, there was a man named Alex. He had been at the club with a few of his friends as well, though his attention kept wandering. He had noticed Maya from across the dance floor, her laughter infectious, her energy magnetic. There was something about her that made him want to get closer, to see what she was about. It wasn't long before their paths crossed. Maya, ever the social butterfly, struck up a conversation with Alex. The initial awkwardness quickly faded as they found themselves lost in easy conversation, their connection deepening with each shared story and laugh. There was no rush, no pressure, just a moment between them. As the night wore on, the drinks kept coming, and the world around them seemed to blur into a haze of music, laughter, and shared glances. Alex and Maya found themselves drawn to one another more and more. The alcohol made them bolder, their inhibitions slipping away. The flirtation became more intense, their touches lingering a little longer, their gazes deeper. Time seemed to slow down for them. They talked, they laughed, and they kissed, caught up in the magic of the moment. Maya felt a spark she hadn't felt in a long time. Alex, too, felt something he couldn't quite explain, a warmth, a connection he hadn't expected to find tonight. They weren't thinking about anything else but each other. As the night went on, they stumbled out of the club together, their hands still intertwined, hearts racing. The cool air outside felt refreshing against their heated skin, but it didn't stop them from continuing to share sweet, whispered words, only making each other smile more. They walked down the street, the city lights casting a soft glow over them, but it was just the two of them that seemed to matter. Their night was filled with moments of vulnerability and passion. There were no expectations, no promises. Just two souls who had found each other in the chaos of the night. Their lips met again under the stars, and for those fleeting moments, nothing else in the world mattered. Time was forgotten, and the world outside was a distant thought. They didn't need to say much. Everything was in the way their hands held on to each other, the way their eyes locked in shared understanding, the way their laughter echoed into the night. It wasn't about the alcohol, the setting, or the music. It was about the moment they shared, pure and unguarded. By the time the early hours of the morning came, the night was starting to wind down. The city was quieter now, but the connection between them remained as strong as ever. They walked together in a silence that felt comfortable, as if they had shared something more than just the wild adventure of the night. Eventually, they parted ways, their goodbyes soft but meaningful. Neither of them needed to say much. They knew that their paths had crossed for a reason, and whatever happened after that night, they would always remember the magic of the evening they shared. As the days passed after that unforgettable night, both Maya and Alex found themselves reflecting on the moments they shared. It wasn't just the thrill of the night that lingered in their minds, but the genuine connection they had felt. Their thoughts wandered back to the laughter, the easy conversation, and the warmth of each other's company. Maya couldn't help but smile when she remembered how she had felt so free with Alex, how they had talked without any pretensions or walls between them. It had been one of those rare instances where she didn't need to worry about anything. She could just be herself. And in return, Alex had listened, truly listened, to everything she had said, as if she was the only person in the room. She felt understood in a way she hadn't in a long time. Alex, on the other hand, found himself thinking about Maya at odd moments throughout his day. He hadn't expected the night to lead to anything more than just a fun evening out, but the connection he'd felt with her was undeniable. She was confident yet gentle, carefree but with a depth that drew him in. He hadn't realized how much he was craving that kind of easy companionship until they had shared it together. He found himself looking at his phone, wondering if he should reach out, but unsure of where to start. It wasn't long before Maya's phone buzzed with a message. It was from Alex. Just a simple text, but enough to make her heart skip a beat. "Hey, I've been thinking about last night. I hope you're doing well. If you're free sometime, maybe we could grab a coffee?" Maya smiled as she read the message, feeling a rush of warmth. She wasn't sure if it was the alcohol that made the night feel so intense, or if there was something real between them, but the idea of seeing him again made her excited. She typed back quickly, "I'd love that. How about tomorrow afternoon?" They made plans to meet, and as the day drew closer, Maya couldn't shake the feeling of anticipation. She didn't want to get ahead of herself, but there was something about Alex that made her want to know more. Something about their time together felt different from anything else she had experienced. When they finally met the next day, it was easy. There was no awkwardness, no pressure. Just two people reconnecting after a night they couldn't forget. They sat at a cafe, sipping coffee and talking, falling into that comfortable rhythm they had found just hours before. The conversation flowed easily, as if they had known each other for much longer than they really had. They shared stories of their lives, of their dreams, of their insecurities, and of their passions. The more time they spent together, the more they realized how much they enjoyed each other's company. What started as a spontaneous connection in the club had blossomed into something more. They began spending more time together. Slowly but surely, their bond deepening with each passing day. They went on walks, explored the city, and spent evenings in each other's presence, their connection growing stronger. Maya found herself looking forward to their next meeting before she even left the one they were in. Alex felt the same, eager to see her again, to hear her laugh, to feel the spark between them. They never talked about what was happening between them too much. It wasn't something they needed to label. The moments they shared were enough. The way their hands naturally found each other's when they walked. The quiet moments when they simply sat together, comfortable in silence, and the way they smiled at each other across a room. Those were the things that mattered. The days turned into weeks, and their connection only grew more profound. What had begun as an unexpected night out had turned into something neither of them had anticipated, but both of them had come to cherish deeply. It wasn't about the alcohol or the romance of the night. It was about two people who had found something special in each other, something that transcended the excitement of a single evening and blossomed into a steady, meaningful connection. And neither of them wanted to let that go. As the weeks went by, Maya and Alex settled into a comfortable rhythm, a routine that felt both natural and exciting. Every time they saw each other, there was a new layer to discover, a new conversation to dive into, and yet it never felt forced. It was as if they had known each other much longer than they actually had. They continued to explore new parts of the city, going to quaint cafes, trying new restaurants, and even indulging in little spontaneous adventures. One afternoon, they decided to visit a museum, an unplanned idea that turned into a perfect day. They wandered through the exhibits, talking about art, life, and everything in between. There was something enchanting about how they shared their thoughts on the pieces they admired, how their opinions sometimes aligned and other times, how they found delight in their differences. Maya loved the way Alex had a way of making her laugh with his playful commentary on some of the more abstract pieces. And Alex was drawn to how deeply Maya considered each piece, as if it spoke to her in a way that made the world around her fade into the background. That day, as they walked out of the museum, they paused on the steps, facing the busy street. Maya had her hands in her pockets, and Alex stood beside her, the autumn breeze gently swirling around them. "You know," Maya said, looking up at the sky, "I never thought a night like that would turn into this." "Yeah," Alex said softly, glancing at her. "Me neither, but I'm glad it did." They shared a quiet smile, one that felt more intimate than words could express. Over time, the bond between them grew even deeper. There were moments when they didn't need to say anything at all. Their presence was enough. On nights when the world seemed too chaotic, they would find themselves curled up on Maya's couch, talking about everything and nothing, or simply enjoying the silence as they watched movies, their legs tangled together under a blanket. But there were also moments of vulnerability, when their conversations turned more personal and they shared pieces of their past they hadn't shared with anyone else. Maya talked about the struggles she had faced growing up, how she had learned to be independent from an early age, and the weight of always feeling like she had to prove herself. Alex opened up about his own fears and dreams, revealing the softer side that few had ever seen. In those moments, their connection deepened even more. They weren't just two people enjoying each other's company. They were becoming a part of each other's lives in a way that felt real and significant. And neither of them was in a hurry to rush it. They let it unfold naturally, without trying to force anything, because what they had felt genuine, and there was no need to rush perfection. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue across the city, Alex took Maya by surprise. They had just finished a quiet dinner at a little restaurant tucked away in a corner of the city. Walking side by side on the street, Alex stopped and turned toward her, his gaze serious but gentle. "Maya," he began, his voice soft but steady, "I know we've been taking things slow, and I'm not trying to rush anything, but I want you to know something. These past few weeks have meant more to me than I can even explain. I don't want to imagine a day without you in it. You've made my life so much brighter." Maya's heart skipped a beat. She wasn't expecting this, not in the way Alex was expressing it, but as his words sank in, she felt a warmth spread through her chest. She had been feeling the same way. There was no one else she wanted to be with, no one else who made her feel the way Alex did. "I feel the same way," she whispered, her voice filled with sincerity. "I didn't think I would meet someone like you, someone who makes everything feel so right." Alex smiled, his eyes lighting up. The way he looked at her made her feel like the only person in the world, and in that moment, everything felt perfect. Without another word, he gently cupped her face in his hands and kissed her, a kiss that spoke volumes, one that conveyed the love and understanding they had built over the weeks. From that moment on, there was no question about where they were headed. Their relationship was no longer just an adventure. It was something real, something that mattered. They continued to build their connection, taking on challenges together, learning more about each other every day. They didn't have to rush into anything, because they knew that whatever the future held, they had already found something truly special in each other. And so, the story of that night, the one that had started with a serendipitous meeting and blossomed into something more, continued. The chemistry, the laughter, the connection they shared, it was all more than they could have asked for. No matter what came next, they knew that their love, born from spontaneity and grown through shared experiences, would always be something they cherished, something that started one night, but never really ended.